that a question?
And that just blew the opening right open, which is fine. That's fine, David. Yes, you are camless again this week. We are back with another Geek Dimensions podcast with David Gull and Paul O'Flaherty, my two good buddies in geekdom. We're actually, this will make 2 weeks in a row. We're here.
Look, okay, so I'm naming my webcam Oathkeeper, and I will have it on next week. I swear.
So should we start
calling the old guides and the new?
Brienne of Tarth?
You can call me D-Gall of computing something.
Brienne
I don't know.
Tarth?
I don't know. Whatever you want.
I just found it really funny. Spoilers alert, people, that, you know, she's got this wicked sword, Valyrian steel, called Oathkeeper, and she ends up having to beat the Hound to death with a rock.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the joke.
All right. Well, what did you guys think about the last episode of the season?
I was so disappointed.
Tell me why, and then I'll argue the opposite.
They crammed too much in to one episode. It just really felt like they had to wrap up so many plot lines. So they did, and they didn't give anything the time that it justified, that it required. Like, you know, Tyrion went off on his little rampage. Still, that should have gotten a lot more time. They really could have drawn the thing out with Tywin so much longer. It would have been awesome. So Jon Snow is behind the wall. His life is on the line, and out of nowhere, Stannis Baratheon with more fucking men than you have seen in the entire of Game of Thrones so far.
How did he make it there so fast?
He obliterates 100,000 strong army in minutes. Right?
Yeah.
This guy couldn't get enough troops together to attack feckin' King's Landing. All of a sudden, he's got more than enough troops to take out 100,000 guys north of the bloody wall. What? Like, why? Why?
And how did he get there so fast?
What was the purpose? How did he get there? How did he get the troops to both sides of it? What happened to the other 400 guys that went over the wall to attack Castle Black? Why the fuck is Jon Snow still alive?
Yeah, I know. See, I thought I was gonna argue against you, but actually, every single one of those reasons is why I didn't like every episode but the finale. Because the finale was the only episode where shit actually happens. And so for that reason, they could have easily talked through every single one of those stories and expanded on it and gone into where Tyrion goes and where Arya goes and could have really wrapped that into a nice finale.
She's gone off to become a ninja.
She's totally going to be a faceless. There's no other storyline that would make sense other than her becoming a faceless one and becoming a total badass.
What's with what's his name? Lord Viserys, the spider. He just like decides, I'm just going to change my mind, get on this boat and leave.
All of a sudden? I don't know. I have another question too that I still can't figure out is what is up with Shay. Okay. Shay, I don't understand. There is no hint. There's no hints of her relationship with Tywin throughout anything. And then all of a sudden she's boning Tywin and just turned on her little lion. What the hell is up with that?
No,
unless she was into that from the beginning.
Lion's dad.
I know, but all of a sudden that doesn't make any sense.
No, it makes lots of sense. She's a prostitute, man.
So it's as simple as that. So all the love for Tyrion was just bullshit?
Yeah, well, you see, she thinks that Tyrion betrayed her. She thinks that he tried to send her away when the spider gave her the jewels and the gold and told her, get on a boat. She thought that was Tyrion, but it wasn't. So she actually thinks that he just didn't want her anymore, that he really wanted Sansa. So she just went back to being a full-on whore. And what better way to hurt them than by, shagging his dad?
The other theory was that from the beginning, Tywin basically planted her so she would fall in love with him and then inform Tywin of what was up with Tyrion, which was like, okay, I can kind of see it. I don't know, but point is basically what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that basically it just seemed like kind of weak and kind of crowbarred in there, and they didn't go into a lot of detail about that or even talk about his first wife or why it would make sense.
It do? Do you know what they did do? They
They
set
killed
us
somebody on the
an
shitter.
awful lot more incest in the next season.
Oh, they did. And they killed somebody on a shitter, which has got to be a first for a TV show. It's got to be.
I am sorry for people who are really into this series and haven't yet caught up, but we just ruined
Everything about that show.
Total
Everything.
spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Oops.
Seriously, though, it's one of those shows. People are so into it, you got to be caught up, or you can't be anywhere near the internet. It's just a rule.
Well, it's like in stream, like when in TeamSpeak after the show, like Dizzy will come in and there's 2 words: get off the internet. Well, that's 3. If it's a good show, and if it's not a good show, it goes eh. And you guys talk about it. But this week, I'm not sure. Was there actually get off the internet?
Yeah, it kind of was. I mean, they've changed they've. Oh, what's the best way of saying this? They've, if you're a fan at all, this week was entirely get off the internet when it comes to Game of Thrones. It really was. Too many plot lines were murdered. I mean, this was George R.R. Martin at his best work. You know, he manages to. What is it? Was it Stephen Colbert said it, or no? It wasn't. Who does the Daily Show? Jon Stewart.
Yeah, Jon Stewart.
Talking about the fact that George R.R. Martin is now on Twitter, and he, because he's the only man who could murder 140 characters at a time. You know.
There we go.
There
Am
we
I
go.
back?
Yeah, you're back.
Wow, did I lose you? I didn't even realize we lost you. That's what happened. You don't have video.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
I know. Okay. We all, I don't know how many of you out there, or even the 3 of us here, are fans of Mila from the Resident Evil series.
That's the old man erection.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But apparently they're making one more final Resident Evil
Can I
movie.
slip my wrists now?
No.
Final as in final, like Pagani made the final Zonda and then 10 more? Or final as in this really is the last final.
Apparently, in an interview with Collider, longtime RE director Paul W.S. Anderson, who is the husband of Mila, son of a bitch,
Bad bastard.
Yeah, revealed that his next video game adaptation, Resident Evil: The Final Chapter, that's the working title, folks, will be the last.
Okay, the last for him.
Or the last video game adaptation.
And any sort of, whatever company wants to pick up on that title, because there's a lot of IP in that, and there's a lot of money in that IP. This will not be the last Resident Evil game. It might be the last Resident Evil game for 5 or 6 years. It'll not be the last Resident Evil game.
Oh, but just think about how it's just perfect video game bait when you have a horde of what are essentially zombies and you're one hero that fights all of them off. You can just insert any story in that and shape that mold any way you want and come out with like a story in a box. You know, it's just perfect. So of course they can't give that up. It's just too easy.
Yeah. So this might be his last film, but no.
You think we'll have more? My God, if Michael Bay can think of rebooting the Birds,
Look,
we are going to
do 4 Transformers movies.
Yeah, we're gonna. Okay, here's the thing.
No. Even better.
What's that?
If they can make Birdemic 2, which they did.
Oh man.
Right? The what?
Birdemic 2.
Birdemic.
You need to YouTube this. It's incredible.
No, I don't.
No, you don't. But what you do need is this air dog so you can stalk Mila.
Actually, I want.
Who says he's not?
The one I want is a skunk.
Oh, speaking of things, did I mention this last week or not? But speaking of things that might upset Hodgson when it comes to women, a friend of mine was in Oculus with Yuan from Doctor Who and the one you really, really, really like from Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The blonde chick, the Asian, or
no,
which one?
The blonde.
Starbuck.
Of course. 'Cause she's Canadian. Oh, Starbuck, not 6.
So here's a shout out to my friend Brian Wright. The back of his head is visible for 1.5 seconds in the auction scene. He's the only bald head in the back row.
Way to go.
But he got his picture taken with them.
He did. Okay.
Very nice.
Did they use the skunk?
Probably not. The
he
skunk
actually got
would
to stand there, and I don't know if he did hopper hand or not because I haven't actually seen the picture. I just know that he got the picture taken.
Oh, so you don't have any proof? This is all. We need to see proof.
My wife has seen the picture, but I haven't.
Okay, fair enough.
Next week we see the picture. But back to the skunk, guys.
To the podcast, I'm sure he'll email it into us.
The skunk is cool, but like way out of budget for even as far as drones are considered, considering that it actually carries a payload. But what's silly about it is basically they have what is essentially the DJI drone kit with the carbon fiber stalks and the cool engines and all that stuff. And then they just like attach Titman 98s to the bottom with like zip ties. It's so hokey.
Yeah, but you can fire paintballs from it.
But look at the picture. It's got to be on level with the target, meaning the drone is going to have to fly 6 feet above the ground to like pepper somebody.
Dude, don't blame the tool. A bad operator always blames his tools. Man.
Yeah. Now, mind you, the thing that worries me is it's called the Desert Wolf, and it's used for mine operators in Africa. Like, what are they doing with this?
What the hell are they doing with paintballs?
I think that's a practice run.
They don't actually use paintballs. You see.
What, they use rubberizers?
What it is it's like, what was it? Back in the 50s or 60s, a guy was assassinated by a poison pellet that was put inside the tip of an umbrella.
Yes.
That was fired gas loaded.
That's
what they're actually doing. And then what they do is they fly these things down diamond mines, and that's how they get all those illicit diamonds, and they make sure that they work for pittance.
I think that's a very viable...
This is a very politically incorrect episode.
Yes.
And it's going to get more politically incorrect, I warn you, because we know what the gall is up his sleeve.
Well, yeah, because like, what else do you do with mudbloods?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Not the kind of seg I was expecting.
Yeah, but okay, all right. To clarify, Mudbloods is a movie or documentary directed by Farzad Sangheri about the real life version of the Harry Potter sports Quidditch.
Yeah, because let's watch grown men
fly around.
Don't even get me started on the real life.
Well, it's UCLA, all right? So there's probably going to be chicks there that are probably athletic of some sort. So it's not all going to be neckbeard dudes, which is a plus.
Right, well, let's be serious, right? If there's geeks involved, they could be neckbeard chicks, and it wouldn't matter. Be excited, okay?
But it is totally ridiculous. But I just had mentioned before the show, it is surprising because, you know, a mudblood is basically an extremely racist term as far as the Harry Potter books are concerned. So it was funny.
You're a half-breed. Your parents.
Yeah.
Filth.
Exactly. Your parents were part of the non-magic race or whatever. So I'm sure you can equate that to a whole bunch of things.
Just think of like the worst racist terms you can think of.
Exactly. So it would be odd that they would call it that because it honestly doesn't even have anything to do with Quidditch. But regardless, this movie's probably going to suck, and so it's not even worth us discussing it.
But maybe just embracing it and they're saying, you know, none of us are magical except for our neckbeards.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, if you look at that poster, here's this guy running along with a broom between his legs.
Yeah, he's just dry humping a broom.
You know, even in the geek community, especially in the geek community, there is such a thing as penis envy.
With brooms?
Dude, come on. I mean, if that's all you can afford, right? I mean,
we're rolling with it.
We're just
rolling with it.
Yeah, we're just going to roll with it.
Just rolling with the punches.
Yes.
Because we're now actively insulting the people we were trying to reach out to. So.
All right, let's actively insult the Apple users.
Well, you know what? In all fairness,
what?
None of the people in this picture, besides the guy with the broom cock, actually have neck beards. But they do all appear to be under 16.
Well,
they're college age. So to you, they all look under 16.
Dude, everything looks under 16 to me at this point. I have a 16-year-old stepdaughter. So at this point, everything is just under 16 to me. I'm old and I can't tell anything anymore.
Well, as I was going to say, while we're insulting demographics, why don't we go after the Apple crowd?
I like Apple laptops, and I like iOS. I like the iPod. I don't like the new iPods. I think they're kind of silly, the touches, but I like my iPod is like a Gen 5, and I modded it and put in a 512 gig hard drive, and it's badass now. So I fucking love that thing.
Okay, well, apparently, I guess Apple's going after the low end of the economic factor with their release of a $1,099, what they call entry-level model.
Yeah.
So this is basically a MacBook Air in an iMac case.
Right? Yes.
With a big-ass, beautiful 1080p display.
Yeah, but okay, that's all well and
for
fine.
For $1,000.
But look at the rest of the fucking crap they got in it. Like, you got a quad-core 2.7 gigahertz Core i5.
Which is respectable.
Look, I hate to say it, but for the price, this thing sucks balls on specs.
It really does.
That's always been a staple of Apple. I mean, that kind of is an ongoing trend. People are paying for more or less the size of the device, the beauty of the display, the convenience of the wireless everything, and the all-in-one nature of the package. Whereas, sure, you could go out and buy a Dell all-in-one with better specs and kind of a shittier display and a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, but people don't want to do that. They go there, they get an all-aluminum, like a well-built machine with a store that they can bring it to and get it fixed, and no bullshit.
Never upgrade this shit. So
who cares?
In 2
years,
years,
they don't want to.
Fork out another $1,000 rather than just replacing a CPU or replacing a drive or whatever. And
because it's not a desktop.
But you know what? Apple is not the only one that is guilty of this shit, right? Because I was speccing servers during the week because we're in the process for one of my clients. We're going to introduce a completely virtualized environment. So we're going to they already have 2 virtualized servers running. But what we're going to do is we're going to set up server replication, and we're going to set up another, and then we're going to set up another server, and we're going to virtualize all the desktops and the whole lot. And it's going to be pretty sweet. But obviously, in that case, you got to go and you got to go spec stuff. So first stop, Dell for their business servers.
Oh, wow. Just stop there.
Because I wanted to know what the prices cost that way, right? So go in there and start speccing out a server, and go down to it. They wanted $790 to add a 500 gig SSD to the server.
It's ridiculous.
You can get a terabyte SSD right now for $440 on Amazon.
Dude, I have given when it comes to servers, when I just need a bare bones server, I'm buying a Supermicro case and I'm getting every part wholesale. I'm going to piece it together from either a third-party vendor that does this kind of stuff and sells it to you wholesale, or I'm going to do it myself because it's just easy.
We're building in-house. I just wanted to do this out of curiosity of the prices,
Out of curiosity, how bad is that rape? Very bad.
It's incredibly bad.
I just had to see.
You didn't even use Vaseline.
When the difference in one SSD is the difference between an SSD of double the size plus, probably 100 gigs of RAM. That's rape.
It's crazy.
Tech rape on the go.
He loves it.
Oh, yes. Yes, I love it. Okay, 2 things first. Two things here. But first, last week, Paul, you tweeted out or you Facebooked the fact that you were doing an in-house security seminar. How did that go?
It went okay, actually, outside of the fact that I didn't have enough time.
And nobody came?
You know what it is? The problem is when you're brought into a client to give security seminars after they've had a problem. And you have to start the seminar and address, what the actual attack vector was. But that is not necessarily the most obvious place to start in giving these seminars. So it's going to be a 4-seminar session. But so we did the first one, which was, I entitled it Common Sense Security, because that is probably the most lacking thing in any sort of computing environment.
Sure.
And it went well, but time pressed as usual, because, these seminars, in this case, it's 4 half-hour sessions, but really you need like 4 3-hour sessions. You know what I mean?
And it sucks because they don't want to be there, but they really need to, and they really need to listen, but they feel like they just don't really need to because they're already they're smart accountants.
What's really
they're
funny,
smart
the
people
person that actually caused the problem is sitting there, and moments beforehand they told me, when are we starting? Because I've got stuff to do and I don't need to be here. Of course. I'm like, you're the and in my mind I'm going, you're the one that caused me a problem that took me like a week of work plus nights, So yeah, it's fun.
Now on the subject of SSD, there was a really good article on Ars Technica.
Is it Ars?
Ars.
I personally go with David on this. It's Ars.
Ars.
Full on pirate.
Ars Pirate. Ars Technica. On SSD drives, and the fact that they're actually living longer than they are rated to.
It's crazy. This is such like a common, not known fact. Is like right when SSDs, I'm sure, and I know Paul has probably went through plenty of this where people are like, well, do I need to put garbage caching on another drive? Do I need to put my user folder on another drive? Do I need to make sure? No, just don't touch it. All right. Windows 7 and all modern OSs have trim. You don't have to worry about it. A flash cell is absurdly resilient. And so basically, I forget who I think might have been Linus or somebody did a video inside of Intel's SSD facility. And they have these huge arrays of SSDs and they're basically torture testing them, just constantly hammering them with zeros and ones, writing on a cell. And it would take you way longer than you would reasonably own this solid state to actually kill a cell and have it become not writable. So, in short, don't worry about it.
There's an amazing amount of redundancy built into these things because they fail. Parts of them fail. They really do. But the problem, the thing is that there's just so much redundancy in the cell design that from a user perspective, no, these things don't fail.
No, yeah. It works and it will work. Don't touch it. Don't move files. Don't move folders off. Don't install any kind of third-party utilities. Just leave it as is.
I'm building servers on these things. Mission-critical servers.
Exactly. You could sling a database on one of something that has intense I/O, and it will still be fine. I swear to you,
dude. I'm going to be building a replication server based, and all the drives are going to be SSD.
Well,
this thing is going to have...
Dude, this is basically what a RAM SAN is.
Real-time replication for, 2 active servers that are running, heavily used SQL databases and about 30 desktops. And this is just... And this is only for small Dockers practice.
Sure.
Well, apparently, I guess Tech Report, who did the testing, they've been torturing these drives to death since last August, non-stop since last August, and they're still going.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, put it this way. So, like, you can buy from Texas Instruments, you can buy a RAM SAN, which is just an absurdly expensive, essentially just a massive, massive solid state that's designed for something that has extremely fast I/O, something like a database. It is a perfect use for it to make it absurdly fast. And still, it uses the same controllers that you can find in a retail solid state.
Look, here's the thing. Flash in all its forms has been seriously kind of underrated since day one. I remember back in, the late 90s when I was training in electronics and to be an electrician and stuff like that, right, in the army. And we used, as part of our course, we used to program EPROMs, erasable programmable read-only.
Yeah.
Right? Boom. Now, these things were only rated for like 500, 600 reads and writes, right? But you would have classes of dudes running, reading and writing to these things, doing programs all day long. One class after another, after another, after another, after another. These things wouldn't fail all year long. They're just, I don't know. They just come out and they say, this thing is only going to last X so that they'll be safe.
Yeah.
How long it lasts is very, very different.
I think those numbers that we get on the failure time period is purely legal.
But you know what? Just getting back to Macs. So I had the fully spec'd out 27-inch iMac. Do you know how long the hard drive lasted? 34 days.
How many?
34 days, and then I had to go get it.
But dude, but that could totally just be because out of a batch of 1,000 million gazillion drives, you got one shitty one.
I agree. I know I'm just saying it to stir the shit. Because I had to explain as well why this $4,000 computer that we just bought now needs to go in for repair. And I'm there and I'm like, well, you know what? It just happens. Sometimes a hard drive gets a knock in transit or it just fails and you don't hit it. You don't know it hits that bad sector or whatever the case is.
Well, remember you building the Stream Machine to Gall and shipping it up to Dizzy, and the first night of stream, and this is the 780 Ti.
It was a 780 Ti. It was about a $750 GPU. Thing is a badass GPU.
This. We talked about this back on one of the very first Geek Dimensions that you joined us.
I think so.
And the video card blew. It
just couldn't cut it. I mean, and that's the thing. And like I torture tested each part of that PC individually. Drives, the CPU, the RAM, the GPU, especially the GPU, and just ran it into the dirt for 24 hours. And it comes off scot-free. And then I even, to the point where I could tweak it a little bit and add a couple hundred megahertz to it. I was like, okay, it's looking pretty good. Let it run for another 6 hours, flawless, added another couple hundred megahertz. It was perfectly fine. But I ship it to him. He plugs it in. Nothing. Doesn't work. Has to be shipped back. Had to be shipped back, even though that was the most well-packed product of everything in that PC build. I took it out. I put it in the original box. It was wrapped in those little air bubble things with like the manuals and stuff. It was flawlessly packaged and shipped. And even still, it just took a ding the wrong way. And that's it.
That's the thing. These things are so robust, but in so many ways, they're just so
fragile,
ridiculously delicate, fragile.
Yeah. Fragile being, I'm not a really good lead-in, but Amazon announced their new Fire phone.
I was going to say, speaking of things that have high failure rates, let's talk about Amazon's new phone.
Yeah. Let's talk about Amazon's new phone. The one that you can get for $299 off contract, or you can get on contract with AT&T for 2 years at $199.
Well, you know what it has going for it?
What? Head tracking?
Well, unlike a Windows Phone, I can actually get a fucking decent phone off contract here in the States.
Well, you can get a Nexus, to which I'll say, where does this fit in when I could just buy a Nexus and get stock Android that's beautiful?
But I kind of want a Windows Phone.
Oh, regardless of the Windows Phone, I won't debate you on that. Some people like Windows Phone. I don't know what it is, or I think it's broken in a hunk of shit.
I'm an Nexus owner. But just the specs on some of the new Windows phones,
it just doesn't mean very much. It really doesn't.
No, but I want it.
Yeah, you can't really argue with that. I mean,
without a contract for AT&T or Verizon,
but you can get the Nokia 520 off contract.
I don't want the 520. I wouldn't.
No, the 520 sucks. No, I agree with you there.
I wouldn't wipe your ass with the 520.
It would be awful sore. Anyway.
Your ass or the 520?
Both. Okay, there's two selling points with three. Okay, there's three selling points with this Amazon phone. One, head tracking.
Which explain to me how that works, because my head just generally doesn't move very much. My head doesn't move very much when I'm looking at my phone. I don't understand exactly how this works.
There is one selling point to this phone only.
The price?
It's the fact that you get 1 year of Amazon Prime for free, which is worth $99 for you.
That's my second point.
In terms of shipping, I'll bloody well guarantee you I do more than $200 or $300 a year in shipping on my Amazon Prime. Easy. I'll probably do that in 3 months.
Yeah.
So with $99 of Amazon Prime, you now get Amazon's music service. I know everything on there is 6 months old or further back, but you get Amazon's music streaming service. You get the video streaming service. I know it sucks balls, but it's still 40,000 movies for people who don't, have Netflix or Hulu. And then there's the fact that you're getting all these great savings, and you're not paying sales tax on anything that you buy from Amazon. So you're even
with an asterisk. In Alabama, we don't pay a sales tax. But like, for instance, I ordered all the parts for the Stream Machine because Ben in Connecticut pays sales tax from Amazon. So it kind of is.
I do.
Depends where you are.
I don't pay sales tax. I'm happy money. But either way.
All right,
either way, just dropping the sales tax, if you're not lucky enough to live in one of those states, you're still getting free shipping.
All right, spec-wise. Here's the specs.
I know people who have gotten things that weigh like 50 fucking odd pounds shipped to their house for nothing on Prime.
Sure.
Okay, spec-wise, we've got a 4.7 IPS screen with a 13 megapixel rear-facing camera with an image stabilization and an f2.0 lens. Inside is a quad-core 2.2 gigahertz chip.
No.
Adreno.
All right, stop. There's nothing impressive about.
No, it's completely.
It is. It's
the
equivalent of an Amazon Basics mouse. It does the job. It's got everything you need, but it is in no way, means or shape outstanding.
No. Not that even really matters that much, because you take a phone like the GS5 and load it down with TouchWiz, and it performs worse than an under-spec Nexus. So the specs on the Android thing are such a circle jerk. Honestly, it comes down to the operating system that it's running on. And in that case, I'm sticking with it. You can't beat stock Android.
Okay, here's the other big selling point they've got with this, and it's called a feature called Firefly. All right. Now, this feature can detect through the camera phone numbers, movies, books, games, CDs, and food. It allows Fire phone owners to buy things instantly that are found in the world.
Yeah, so like Google Glasses?
Is this just like either Google Goggles?
Google Goggles, sorry.
Or Amazon Price Check app.
Exactly.
Yep.
Which both suck horrifically.
So
besides barcodes. It works on barcodes and like QPCs and shit, but how hard is that?
Okay. We all agree that there's nothing really outstanding. Like this whole head
sell like motherfucking hotcakes.
You think so?
Of course it will. There's an army of people out there who are looking for cheap phones at a bargain.
Yeah, but it's $299 off contract, or
it's not. It's $199 on contract, and then you look at it and you're getting a year free of Amazon Prime, so you're definitely going to make money.
People aren't looking at that
alone. And then there's just the whole Amazon army that will buy anything that Amazon puts out. Yeah, they'll sell like hotcakes.
How compared to, because you need a phone contract.
Think like we think.
No, exactly, which is why I'm saying this. They want to go to AT&T. They're not going to go to Ting or some kind of, like real niche phone provider. They're going to go to AT&T or T-Mobile. And they're going to go and they're going to want a free iPhone or something that comes on contract, because you're already going to have to get something, a phone contract.
It's not quite that crowd. It's not quite that crowd. The crowd that this is aimed at are the people who are they're more technically savvy than that crowd, but they're not us. These are people who are online. These are people who are already using Amazon. These are people who are looking at it and saying, okay, well, I already have an Amazon subscription, but now I'm going to get another year free. These people they're further up the bell curve than the people you're describing, but they're not as far up the bell curve in terms of geek savviness as the people on this podcast.
How many of those people could there possibly be? Enough to warrant this phone?
Quantity of. A vast quantity of them, and that's why things like the Amazon Fire are doing well. Not the Fire. What's their TV product?
Whatever they're
Whatever.
But to this phone's credit, I gotta say though, what's cool, and Apple just did this or announced it with iOS 8, is that of course, like Android, developers are getting a full SDK. Full SDK.
Look, Apple is copying Android.
Oh, but everybody's copying everybody in mobile space. I don't even bring it up anymore. I'm just saying that to their credit, Apple finally realized, look, people want to do some cool shit with our phones. We need to allow this. So finally, they're releasing an SDK.
Do you know what I'd like them to do? I'd like them to have. I'd like Apple to handle just fucking raw basic HTML the same way as Android does. That would be nice.
Then it would look ass and wouldn't format correctly, and your email client would suck.
I put together a beautiful app this week for one of my clients, and it's just for in-house work while they're rounding. And of course, I did it all on my phone. First person, and I didn't think for the life of me that things like simple drop-down menus would render so phenomenally fucking different on an iPhone than they do to Android. I just blanked. It was like 2 or 3 hours work to put this thing together. You know, it wasn't any major undertaking. But yeah, you know, I send the guy the link and I'm like, here, try this tonight while you're out doing rounds, because you know it's supposed to be a time saver. I can't read this.
Yeah.
Can't even see the things on it. They're off the side of my screen. I'm like, what the fuck?
The mobile compatibility is a bitch. Yeah, there's no way.
Nothing in this. This was very simply
just like a website or basically some kind of interface.
Actually embedded in their web page, just at a web page that just a web URL that only they know, right? And all it was simple drop-down lists in a form. And just the rendering of it is so completely different. It was retarded.
Well, hopefully that we can get some of this stuff fixed.
You get the drop-down list and you hit it. Well, I'm on the latest version of Android on my Nexus. It just opens up as kind of like a pop-up that just like fills the middle of your screen and all the options are there and you just hit what you want. Mm-hmm. On iOS, it comes up as a scrollable, unreadable gray thing at the bottom.
Yeah, like the selection wheel, like the time thing.
And I'm like, why?
There's all these special tags that you got to use when you're doing that stuff. But I promise that if you did it and made it look and spent the extra time to format it for iOS, that it looks good. But like you said, there's a lot of extra hoops.
Time to format basic fucking HTML that you
exactly. Exactly. That's the problem that iOS 8 kind of is aiming to fix. Make this a little bit more dev friendly, which is something that we can all get behind, because shit like that it makes you rage. It does. And speaking of rage would be a good seg into something.
What would that be a good seg into there, DeGaulle?
I don't know, because we already talked about the Quidditch thing, which is really the most retarded thing in our notes.
Thing, except the shit that we were going to drop.
Yeah, there's some the YouTube rage, but that's really, I don't even want to get into that. That's retarded.
Yeah, that's just more people complaining about not getting what they want on YouTube. Well, you know what?
Exactly.
That's just YouTube at this point. Try Vimeo.
Vimeo. Yeah, okay. Well, I think basically we have gone through the show notes, the stuff we were going to carry. Do you guys have any? Okay. What?
Don't even look at me.
What? It's either look at you or look at a dolphin.
Even just pull something out of your ass for a pic.
The dolphin.
Either one of you. Anything really fun and geeky you did this past week?
What did I do this week?
You reinstalled your Windows.
I did manage to reformat. We were just talking about it. Got it down to a science because ChromeSync is awesome. What else, though? I've just been playing WildStar, Red Orchestra, been shooting some Nazis. I did play one of the worst games I think I've ever played in my life. It was called Enemy Front, a new Nazi killer on Steam. which is just atrocious. It's one of those games that drove me to write a Steam review, which I never do. I never do.
How bad was
it was
review?
long. Oh, it was a long review, and it was bad. But
can we get the TLDR sort of?
Well, yeah, pretty much the game just they advertised the game as it's like the first truly modern World War II shooter. And it's like, yeah, because it was done with CryEngine. But when it comes down to it, you're still running and gunning around, shooting Nazis, right-clicking to look down your iron sights. I mean, come on. The formula has been done. So that was pretty much it. And the AI is just retarded. Like, here's an example of the AI. So say I'm behind a box and an enemy's like 25 meters away or whatever. So I pop up, I put a couple shots into him. The AI decides, okay, he just went back in cover. What am I going to do? I'm going to run up to the box and start shooting at him from like a meter away. Just right around the edge of the box. And I look at the Nazi and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And so I press F and it just melees him to death. I just hit him a couple times in the crotch and he goes down. Like, what the fuck is this? And the multiplayer is a joke, which is a lesson when you don't release your dedicated server files to your client or to your users. You end up with shitty player-hosted servers, which just suck.
Rust.
Rust, worst offender. I still can't make my own damn server, so fuck Gary Newman and Rust.
In that case, I do have a tip this week.
Ooh!
For anybody on Android who's into reading...
Just a tip?
Just. For anybody on Android who's into reading their comics, Perfect Viewer is an awesome free comic book viewer. It will do .cbr files, .cbz, it'll do PDFs, the whole lot. But if you're looking for any kind of software that's, to manage your, I suppose, comic book collection that hasn't necessarily been gotten through the ordinary stores, because it doesn't have purchasing abilities.
And we do not condone that type of behavior.
No, but if I've paid for something on another thing and I want to try a different user, you can be damn well sure, a different software product, you can be damn well sure I'll take DRM off it. Shit, I didn't say that either. That's it.
No, you didn't. No.
Oh, oops.
But yeah, Perfect Viewer. Check it out. It's really good.
So besides just a bitch, I gotta also say, did you play Killing Floor by chance? The zombie killer? All right. Well, not zombie killer. Zombie killer is a bad phrase now. It's like a monster killer with like all these mutated monsters and stuff.
Correct. You can't be killing them zombies.
Yeah. This is Killing Floor 2 is my pick. And it's technically not even a pre-order. It's just something to keep your eyeballs on. It's just an absurdly gory monster killer shooter that you play with your friends. It's got great weapons. And you have a good time. Killing Floor 1 is currently out. It's just called Killing Floor, and it is awesome. It's a cheap game because it's old Unreal mod, but it's just badass. Play it with a friend.
Well, while we're in the game avenue of tips, I just actually got this gifted to me tonight. Space Engineers. I know you're interested in that one, Zagala. You've played it before, but apparently this is quite a well done open space type building world.
You're not.
It is mega cool.
Recommending a game you haven't played yet.
I honestly, I have not played it, but I know people that like the Gall have. I know Dr. Death has, and I know a couple other people have played it.
I'll tell you why it's cool. So it has Steam Workshop support. So the first thing I did was go to the Steam Workshop and type in Battlestar, and I found full replicas, like completely recreated Battlestars in the Space Engineers universe. There's like the Valkyrie, the Galactica, the Pegasus, and they are all 1-to-1, like massive in size, to the point where if you don't have a beastly PC, you cannot load this file. But if you go into it, it's a full-size hangar bay with Vipers and Raptors sitting in it. You can walk down the hallways. You can walk to the bridge and see, or the CIC and see everything there. It is kick ass.
Have a lot of time on their hands.
Oh, no kidding. This is the kind of undertaking that you only see that kind of undertaking rarely. Like when occasionally you run across a Minecraft post where it's like, oh, these people have recreated King's Landing or the entirety of Westeros. And you're like, shit, that's got to take a lot of time. No, this shit takes a lot of time.
But anyway, no, I like I said, I'm basically because, you know, people like the Gall and a couple of people that I know and I respect their opinion when it comes to games, they've highly recommended the game. So I'm sort of passing along those recommendations for it. That's Space Engineers in Steam. Sweet. And as sweet as it is, we have to call the show to an end tonight. I'm sorry, guys.
Boo.
Boo, hiss. Next week, though, the Gall will have a webcam and pants on.
Most definitely.
I'll
bathe. I swear.
I'm not so worried about either of those two things. It's when you combine one without the other.
It's like that triangle.
The Gall will have
triangle with three sides.
Sure about the pants.
Yeah, I'll give you this. It's a triangle with three sides, and you can pick two. It says webcam, pants, or shirt. And you can choose which ones you want. Whether you want webcam and shirt, but no pants, or webcam and pants, but no shirt. Or no webcam and pants and shirt.
How about pants and shirt, but no webcam?
Word. That's what I'm rocking now.
All righty. On that note, folks, this is Geek Dimensions with my good friends David Gall and Paul O'Flaherty. I'm Stephen Hodgson, and we call this show to an end. We will be back next week. But in the meantime, you can catch us on Stitcher, on Blueberry, on Podcastpedia, on Milo.
No, you need to put
iTunes?
This on. You need to put it on SoundCloud. We need to do that. We need to put this on SoundCloud.
I can't afford SoundCloud. Anyway.
Oh, is it not free?
No,
what?
No.
You get a limited amount of upload time a month, but then it's like, I don't know, it's like $20 a month or something.
Yeah, I use Libsyn, which is, I think it's how you pronounce it. But anyway.
Yeah, Libsyn is awesome. That's the host I use as well.
Yeah. So until next week, folks, we'll see you. But remember, one most important thing. In the meantime, keep it geek. You have been listening to the Geek Dimensions On-Air podcast with Stephen Hodgson, Paul O'Flaherty, and David Gall. You can send any feedback about this or any of our other episodes to feedback@geekdimensions.com or by leaving a comment on the post. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus as Geek Dimensions. If you want to subscribe to the show, you can find it on iTunes, Stitcher, Blueberry, and podcastpedia.org, or you can use our RSS feed for the show. The music used in the show is Metro by Sleek Thief. The On-Air podcast is the official podcast of Geek Dimensions and everyone living a geek's life.